Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So as everybody knows, I hope you know, I'm Dr. Tiffany Quash. I am the Qualitative Survey Research Methodologist here in CTRL. Just a couple of housekeeping things, like everybody's on mute by default. But if you have a question, just either pop it in the chat or definitely just don't even bother raising your hand. Just be like, "Hey, Tiffany," and I'm like, "Okay, sure." Like we'll just go like that. This session is being recorded. Typically it's recorded. Are you recording now?
Yeah, it's recorded.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, great. And then you can actually watch all the recordings on the CTRL YouTube channel. Okay. So our quick agenda for today is we did the welcome, and I'll tell you about our session goals in a minute. Tell you a little bit what is Taguette, because I really think it's really important to give acknowledgement to the people who created Taguette. We're going to practice using the interview guide. You're going to use a code book in Taguette, and then if you have any consultations you want to have with me, you can book those as well. If I talk too fast, just tell me to slow down. I just get really excited talking about this particular program. So our session goals will be to describe how to upload transcription or other documents onto the Taguette system, and implement the correct process for coding, describe the steps of how to work collaboratively with others on the platform. Now that part, it may or may not be a little difficult to do, but we can try it out and see how it goes. And then definitely use skills gained to tag and annotate on the document. Before I go any further, was everybody able to log into Taguette from the directions I gave you? All right, Mandy, Heather, Jennifer, were you able to log into Taguette? You were? Okay, fantastic. And then were you able to get the document, just have the document somewhere on your computer? Okay, fantastic. Yay, thank you for the thumbs up. Mandy, did you get that document as well?
Sure did.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. So like I said before, I want to definitely acknowledge the people who created this program. So Vicki Rampin, who is at NYU and works in data services at NYU. She is a subject specialist for computer science and data science. And then Taguette and her partner created, or her partner and herself created Taguette. So this is kind of like a personal project. If you're looking for another option outside of, let's say Deduce or In Vivo or Max QDA or Atlas TI, this would be another program you may want to use. Now, I will say it's not maybe as robust as some of those other programs, but this is just another example of how you can use annotating and coding a program. An interview. If you want to get in touch with Vicki, you can go to hi@taguette.org. And this is the team. The team is pretty small in comparison to maybe other programs, but this is the team of people who actually work on Taguette. Okay, so that's why you can reach out to them saying hi@Taguette, and they will respond to you fairly quickly. Okay. So let's take a minute and talk about computer-assisted qualitative data analysis programs. So they're called CAQDAS, like an actual cactus. So it just includes features like highlighting, encoding, annotating, and linking source materials. CAQDAS helps the analysis, but also with data management practices. A lot of people have mixed feelings about CAQDAS. So there's this fetishization of codes over deep engagement with source materials, and also concerns over privacy of data. So a lot of times people are like, hey, is it in the cloud or is it on my computer? Like, where is this information being stored? So I will tell you with this particular program, the way that I had you all set it up, it's in the cloud. It's not, but at the same breath, and this is a question that I need to contact Vicki about, is it safe or protected? So it's definitely I will get back to y'all about that part, but I do believe it is protected because they've got the passwords for you to be able to lock down your information. So what is Taguette? So Taguette is a text tagging availability on desktop or the server. We'll be using the online version. That was one of the reasons why I had you log on online. Excuse me. And then why would you want to use Taguette? It's available on all operating systems. So you can use Microsoft Windows or an Apple. It's real-time collaboration. It's easy to use and learn. It's self-hostable. Now that requires us to have permission from AU, very similar to how we have an in vivo license, but we do not have that currently. The data does remain local, and there is a multilingual option. Unfortunately, it's only available on the hostable network, so the version that we're using today is not available. But I have seen it. Vicky showed me how it would look if it was like in Arabic or a different language. So some of the motivations and goals about using Taguette is that qualitative methods generate rich, detailed research materials that leave individuals' perspectives intact, as well as provide multiple contacts for understanding the phenomenon under the study. It also provides a wide range of fields, such as anthropology, education, nursing, psychology, sociology, and marketing. And most importantly, qualitative data has a similarly wide range, such as observations, interviews, documents, audiovisual materials, and so much more. As far as the audiovisual, I do not believe, and I stand to be corrected, that Taguette can use audiovisual materials. But from my knowledge, you can only use like an interview or a focus group. Okay. So as I said before, there's two ways of getting Taguette, but we are using the bottom way of how you're getting access to Taguette. So this right here is like if it was hostable on our network. So this is where I'm going to start to split my screen. I'm going to actually bypass this particular slide because it kind of tells you how to download or actually get access on a hostable network. So I'm going to bypass this slide, but then just kind of tell you again about the features, which is the same thing I mentioned earlier, available on all operating systems. It's real-time collaboration. Again, if we have time, I'll show you how that real-time collaboration works. It's definitely easy to use and to learn. And that, like I said, the data remains local, and there's a multilingual option as well. So without further ado, we are going to actually log into Taguette. So you all have already done this part, which is fantastic. So this is where I'm going to stop sharing. And you have to tell me when you can't see my screen if that's helpful at all. And I'm just going to pull up Taguette. And now I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So I just want to make sure that everybody can see the screen where it says welcome to Taguette. Yes. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to just log in. Excuse me. And since I have already uploaded the William interview, I'll go ahead and show you how to do that from the beginning. So what you would do is you're going to go to create a new project. And I'm going to name it William. And description. If this looks familiar, it's the excuse me, it's the demo interview that's in vivo. So if this looks familiar, that's what it is. And then for discussion or description, I'm going to put environmental project. Create. And then what I'm going to do is add a document. And then I'm going to click choose file. And then this is where I'm going to go to William. Enter name document, William. Oops, I could spell. William interview. And then and again, this is me just making sure that I put in enough information so I don't have to go back. So for description, I'll say one-on-one interview. And then I'm going to click import. So now you actually see the entire interview here. Does anybody have any questions if I went too fast? Like, let me know. Okay, fantastic. So I'm trying to use my cheat sheet at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start coding. And again, this is really, it's really that simple and easy. You're going to pretend like old school coding, you would use a highlighter, right? And that typically your highlighter would be yellow on this. It's me. And I'm like, oh, I want the pretty colors. But what you would do is you're going to take, let's say, I've owned my house in Straits Township in Ottawa for 3 years. I'm going to highlight that and click new highlight. And there it says find I'm going to go to create a tag. And interesting is always the default for the record. We can remove it, but interesting is always the default tag. And so let's say I put in years of living in township. And for the description, and this is going to be kind of helpful when you get ready to export your code book. Township residency. I'm going to click save and close. Save and close. And now you can actually see I've owned my house in Straits Township in Ottawa for 3 years. If I hover over it, you can see where it says years of living in township. So if I go to highlights, I'm actually going to delete the interesting one here. But if you go to highlights, you can see years of living in township. If I click on it, it actually says like William, it's coming from the William interview. Here's my tag. And here is the quote from the text. So I'm going to go back to William interview. And then I'm going to do a couple of more. Does anybody have questions about what I just did? Or thank you for having your camera on, Jennifer. It helps me know that I'm in the right spot.
I teach online and I like to see my audience. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I teach online as well. And it's like, yay. So the other cool part about tagging, let's say, for instance, you have a parent code and a child code. So a parent code is typically the overarching code. And then the child code is like mini codes that go underneath the parent code. Does everybody understand that part? So you can actually do that in vivo as well. In vivo, they call them nodes, but and you can do it in Deduce. I believe you can do it in MaxQDA and Atlas TI as well. But let's say that I wanted to highlight this next sentence, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say new highlight. I'm going to say create a new tag. Oh, hold on. Let me do this. I actually highlight this. I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go create a new tag. And let's say I want a child code. And let's say I go years of living in partnership in township. I'm going to go dot family. I'm going to hit save and close. Save and close. I go back to my highlights, and then you can actually see that this actually goes underneath this. So let's say, and this is where I get a little confused sometimes as well. I should be able to go here. Yep. And if I go to the parent code, you can see that this one where it says years of living in township family is kind of nestled underneath the years of living in township because it appears twice. Okay. Any questions?
Tiffany, a quick question. Is there a way to, so I was kind of following along with you. Is there a way, and I created a highlight, but then I decided I wanted to delete it because, is there a way to do that?
Yes. So what you can do is, let's say, go back to the document. So you can't highlight or delete it from here. What you'll have to do is go back to highlights. And then you see, like, let's say I want to remove this one right here. So I would go to edit, and then I can go to delete tag.
Okay.
So I'll just
Gotcha.
it,
Okay.
and then I'll hit OK. Yeah, really good question. Really good question. So let me just refresh. It should delete. It should have deleted that. Oh, it didn't delete it completely because I was in here. Let's say. Oh, there it goes. It's not there. Yeah. So I'm going to go back, and let's say that I want this new highlight. I'm going to create a tag. Right. Hit save and close. Now let's say that I want to merge these two. So what I would do is I would go to edit. I'm going to click merge. And then if you see here, I can merge this one, the child code, into the only other code that I have left. So I hit merge tag, and now it should appear. It appears as one. Do I have any questions or anything? All right. So I'm just making sure that I'm covering everything I'm at this point. So let's say that I want, I want to make sure that everybody understands how to tag, which I think everybody does. So I know here's this backlight. Some people like backlight, some people don't. If I hit the backlight, all it does is you can see all of the the codes or the tags, and it takes the rest of the information and it kind of moves it back. So that's what backlight is. I know people have asked me the question, is there any other color you can use? I think I said it earlier, like the only color that's available in Taguette is yellow. And again, it kind of reminds you how to do like tagging or coding old school way with a highlighter. Okay. Right. Am I moving too fast or everybody's got it? Got it. Fantastic. Okay. So let's say that, and I'm going to just tag a couple more because then I'm going to show you how to export your your code book. So let's say I like this. Create a tag. Family. Close. Close. Actually going to move this one. And it let's say click this. I'm going to click it over to family, save and close. Now, interestingly enough, it should not. It might appear. It appears here, and then it'll also appear here. And I'm trying to delete one of them. Let's see if I can delete this. Doesn't want me to delete it. You should be able to delete it, but you might have to go back into it to delete the tag that you have. Well, I just deleted the whole thing. So let's go back. See. Oh. Close. Save close. And then let me go ahead and do a couple more. I'll click new tag and then college years. Close. Okay. Hi. Done.
Okay.
All right. All right. So now I've got 3 tags here or codes. So from here, what I really want to do is show you how to export your code book. So what we're going to do is go to project information. And then from here, I'm going to click export code book. And I personally like seeing it in a doc file. Some people like seeing it in Excel. CSV is pretty much the same thing as Excel. Or you might want to see it in a PDF file, but I'm going to just click on the doc file. And here I go. And hit save. Here's the doc file. And what it's going to tell you is that you've got 3 codes from family, 1 code from residency, and then 1 code for college years, or the quotes for college years. I will say that the drawback of doing it this way is that you don't actually see what you've coded. So I don't see the sentences or the quotes from the people who are in the transcript. So that's the only downfall of doing it this way, or of exporting your code book, for instance. You can import a code book. So let's say you already have a code book that's established. You can import it by going to import code book. Let's see if I can import the old code book that I had for this. So import, or here's the code book. I'm going to click open. Right click review. And then these are actually all of the codes that I had for this particular transcript. And then I'm going to hit create tags. And then when I go to highlight, all of those tags from the code book that I imported are right here. Now I will tell you, because I didn't have a quote associated to any of these, you won't find those quotes there. So if I click on attraction to this particular county, there's not going to be anything in the document. That highlights it. So I'll have to actually go in and highlight it. I can actually show you what the code book looked like. So you can see what I imported into the document. So if you decide that you want to set it up, and I actually saved it in an Excel file. So I want to make sure y'all can see my Excel file. Yes? No? Maybe? Yes. Awesome. So this is actually how it's set up in Excel. So you would put, I'm just going to make these a little bit bigger. The tag goes in one column, the description goes in the other column, and the number of highlights. You can put 0. But yeah, they would go over here. And that's just me importing the code book into Taguette. I think it's really, again, this is really important. I find that writing the description for each tag is important as well, because it takes a little bit of that labor off of you and saying, oh my gosh, what does this tag mean? So I think it's really important that when you have that idea in your mind of, okay, well, this is about families and saying like living in this area, like they've lived in this area for X amount of years or over 18 years or something like that. And you can put that in your description. Okay. I'm just not going to save that. So how are we doing, folks? I don't want to lose anybody. Fantastic. Let me go back to my little, I call it my cheat sheet. So we've already talked about exporting your code book. Again, exporting all tags with highlights. To export all tags with highlights, you would navigate to the highlights section, and then there's a tab to the left pane, and click on like where you see all the highlights. You should be able to see all highlights. And then you should be able to export this information by the view drop down menu on the right hand side. So let's say I go here to export this view, and I'm going to go with the docx file. I'm going to go to all tags, save, open it up. And again, the other way we did this will not allow you to see what you've tagged. But this way you'll be able to see all the quotes that you have. So there's one way it's like, yay, I can see that I have like 4 tags for residency. But this way you actually can see what you've quoted or what's quoted in the interview guide. And you can see the tag, and you can see what document it came from. A little bit of the disadvantage from seeing it this way is that you don't have the definitions of the tags or of the codes. So that's the only drawback for this. Any questions on how I did that? Yay. Okay. Let's see here. I believe, so we've talked about importing and exporting projects. Let's say, yes, this is what I wanted to do. So manage collaborators. So you can see in real time, like I explained earlier, of what your collaborator is doing. The downfall of doing it on Taguette. Well, let me back up. The really cool part of it doing on Taguette is that it's in real time, number one. And number two, you can actually see what your collaborator is tagging. The downfall is you can see what your collaborator is actually tagging. So it's not, you're not coming to it as a person who's like, oh, wow, this is a new revelation. It's more of, oh, you already tagged it. So that's just unfortunately the drawback of this particular program. So you can't, and there's another word for using it this way, but for lack of better words, you can't line code, as they would say in qualitative research, in using it on Taguette. But I will tell you, when you, let's say I manage collaborators, and all you have to do is put in the username, and you can put in the type of permissions they have. So let's say you only want to view and make changes, or you only want them to view it, especially if you're working, let's say that you're working with undergrads, for instance. I'm not saying undergrads can't do the work, for the record. I don't want anybody to say that I said that. But let's say that right here, you only want them to view it. Then you can do, put in their username and have them view it only. Now, let's say you have an RA or research assistant who you want them to be able to view it and make changes. You can click on this as well, and you can add them to the project. Okay. Let's say you want them, you can't change collaborators and delete the project. I mean, I probably wouldn't do that, because I don't want anybody to delete the project I'm working on. Or you can give them full permissions. So that means that they can go in, change your tags or add to the tags. But that gives them full permissions. It's really important to know their username in order to put it in here. So my username is Quash01, and I have full permissions. Okay. If I wanted to leave the project, I leave the project, but that means that all of the information that I've just spent time doing is gone. Yeah, unfortunately. So keep your name on the document or on the profile for as long as possible. So let's say that you have somebody who is collaborating. Everything that they have marked will also appear in the document. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about that?
Yes. Can you tell who has tagged what? Like if you had so it's you can't tell who's done what.
Okay. No, that's the unfortunate part of this. That's a really good question, Mandy. Yeah. Let's see. So, like I told y'all that this is the down dirty of Taguette, and we have gone through everything that you could possibly do with Taguette. I'm going to switch up my screens, but does anybody have any questions about this particular program? Yes, Jennifer.
One thing I tried is export project, and it seems like it exports it as a SQL file that maybe you would have to open in Microsoft Access. It didn't open to anything intelligible in a text document.
Yeah, as you can tell, I kind of avoid using some information that I don't know. So yeah, I mean, if it comes out, let's say the doc, the PDF, Excel, or CSV, like that information, I'm like, okay, like I understand where it's coming from. But if it's an let's just look for fun. What will it look like for an HTML file? Yeah, so this is what it would look like for an HTML file. So if you do it that way,
I guess export project maybe would be if you wanted to put it into in vivo. You wanted to take everything you've done, I'm guessing, and put it into in vivo or Atlas TI. And that is probably not something that my students or I would ever do.
So, I mean, interestingly enough, wait, let me back up. So you went to project info and then export project. Okay. So, so interestingly enough, I don't know if you can actually put it into in vivo, even though this original document is an in vivo document. So yeah, there's that. And you know, I have a love-hate relationship personally with in vivo because I think the learning curve can be a little tough. I personally like deduce. So I can talk about deduce for hours. But it's definitely like one of these programs where I don't even know if it will transfer over into a program. And I know like with in vivo, if you can go and you're using I was about to say a Windows file, Windows to Windows works and Windows to Mac works, but Mac to Windows doesn't. So just if yeah, I will tell you that as at all. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. So I am going to switch up my screen real quick. And I'm going to put this screen up. So I definitely want you to continue trying out the tools from Taguette. Vicky does a fabulous job talking about the benefits of using Taguette, especially for new people who are coming on the qualitative front. I try to tell people like definitely go open source, use this as a beginner tool, or not even just a beginner tool, a tool that you may want to use in your classes. There is a FAQ page for Taguette, and then and definitely learn more about Taguette by going to this site right here. Okay, and I'll send all these files, this particular PowerPoint, to everybody so you can go back to it. If you have any other questions, you can definitely book a consultation with me. That was when I had a different color hair, but you can definitely book a consultation with me at any time. I definitely suggest like trying to book it like 24 hours in advance, because I do get booked fairly quickly, sort of. But most importantly, if you have a document that you want me to go over, if you can like send it over like 48 hours in advance for me to look at it, that would be fantastic. So any other questions about this particular program? As I told everybody before, I don't want to waste your time, but it really is that quick to go through Taguette. It's a lot of fun. Like and it's open source. It's free. So any other questions?
I will definitely use this. I love it. And I did have a question. This video is available to us later, but is it available to students, the CTRL videos?
So it is on YouTube, I believe so. But you can also always send them my slides as well, if that's helpful. I mean, I like for this particular presentation, what I wanted to do is actually demo it. But I demo it in the slides. So, and if you can fill out the evaluation survey that was put in the chat, that would be fantastic. If you have any other suggestions for programming for next semester or what have you, like you can definitely put it in the chat or not the chat, but in the evaluation, because I'm always trying to figure out new ideas for programming in the fall and the spring. So that was a 33-minute presentation. I can let you all go and enjoy the rest of your Friday if you have any other questions. But please fill out the evaluation. I really appreciate it.
This is awesome. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. It's so helpful and good to know.
Great. I'm so glad that folks are gonna start using this program.
Tiffany, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. No problem, Andy.
Bye.
Bye. Have a happy Friday, everybody.
You too.
Alexandra, did you have a question or anything?
No, I was just listening to what you were saying. I don't have any questions.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Just do me a favor and fill out the survey. That'd be great.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Take care, everybody.